Hello and welcome to the Gated Breadless Start video series with the Icelandic mare Limra and myself, Carrie. We're going to start this video a little differently than I have in the past, and the reason is that I have a feeling that as this project continues, I'm going to want to talk more directly to you at the beginning of each video about where we're at in our training and what's happening. And these next couple sessions were all about refinement, refining the skills that we had introduced and starting to improve upon them and be more precise about what we were asking and more detail oriented in our conversations. Of course, everything is still totally at liberty. And what we were working on primarily was the session as a whole. So me losing her less, me disconnecting from Limra less in these sessions. And we were working on improving our changes of direction, both in the front switches and the reverse switches. And finally, we were working on refining that control of circle size and our ability to have more nuanced conversations. So as opposed to her just leaving, maybe she'd swing a little wide or drift away from me, and then I would be able to draw her back to me with more subtle cues. So just that conversation around refinement is going to be the theme of these couple sessions that I'll be sharing with you today. The one new thing that we did introduce is we introduced shoulder switches. So we will be showing you what those are and how we introduce them in this video. Enjoy. One change that became evident in these next couple of sessions was how the sessions started. So you can see I've hung up my halter, I'm cleaning up the round pen a little bit, and I walk over here to pick up my whips to start the session. And she's not really paying attention, but she walks away and then realizes what I'm going to do and instantly just turns right around and walks up to me. And this is, of course, a very different start to the session than what we had in the beginning. It's just a start that shows a willingness to connect and have a conversation with me right from the beginning. You can see there I'm giving her a scratch and she's reciprocating a little bit. So we're starting more with connection. You can see a similar start to session here where I think she's going to start by disconnecting because she wanders off and is looking around a little bit, exploring the round pen. But then all of a sudden, as I walk up to her, she's like, "Oh, hey, here I come," and comes right in towards me, and I'm able to send her around me on a circle and start once again with connection. Yet another thing that characterized these sessions was me trying to move my feet less. In the beginning, we adjust a lot to the horse to maintain draw, but as we progress, we start to try to stand still while we're circling. And this, of course, requires perfect balance of draw and drive, so it's challenging. You can see Limra is hesitant, but she started to figure it out, which was really exciting. So something that you'll see a lot in these sessions is that as opposed to fully disconnecting and going to the outside edge of the round pen, she drifts off as she did there, and then I'm able to draw her back in and circle again. And I always love this, that we're able to start to have that conversation where we're able to bring the horse back to us. Similarly here, I started asking her always come all the way to my shoulder. You see here she's kind of backing away, wanting to put me in the other eye and not drawing all the way into my right shoulder. And so I'm just taking that carriage whip and correcting that, bringing her all the way to me, as opposed to allowing her to stop a couple steps away and then me having to walk to her and approach her. You can see that again here. I just make that correction and draw her all the way to my shoulder. Yet another thing that characterized these sessions was repeated changes of direction, both front and reverse switches, where Limra was really learning to move her shoulders around and reorient herself around the whips so that she could move fluidly between the different right and left circles. And you can really see how much try and draw she's developing here as we practice that skill. So, a new skill that we began to develop in these sessions was transitioning from circling as I do here, to following at the shoulder. So we were circling around to the left, and now I'm drawing her into my right shoulder as I walk forward on a slight curve to the left, and she follows at that shoulder. Here I stop and reward that great sequence. Of course, it didn't all start that smoothly. Here I'm starting to try to transition to her following at the left shoulder after circling around to the right, and she doesn't fully draw to that left shoulder. I'm trying to convince her to come and follow me as I curve to the right, and she gets distracted and drifts off, as you can see here, and I wait a moment and then send her up, bring my energy up, send her up into trot, send her around me. And notice I don't spend very long in this higher energy phase of this training session. We just do one round and then I lift that elbow, draw her back in and go right back to what I was working on earlier, drawing her all the way around to that left shoulder and trying to proceed to walk forward with her drawing to the left shoulder. And when I achieve a good moment there, I of course reach out and reward her, give her some scratches. As I started to play more with the following at the shoulder position, I realized that I could use that to possibly help me improve upon my reverse switches. I was still losing some draw when I changed directions in the turn away, as I demonstrate here. She's just not really coming very close to me, not really coming towards me in that change of directions. And so I had the idea of facing away more and trying to draw her behind me towards my shoulders. And as I played around with this, it started to develop into what we call shoulder switches, where I curve to the left here and I'm drawing her to my right shoulder. I actually stop and rub on her here and reward her for a good moment. But then here you can see it again. I'm drawing her over now onto my left shoulder. The whips are on the right side of my body and I stop and rub. So the horse is always drawing to the shoulder opposite the whips. And in this way, I started practicing just getting her to draw better towards me as I face away and really switch and orient to the shoulder opposite the whips. You can see me playing around with this concept, and it's actually really helping her draw better towards me, which was really fun to see that develop in her. Finally, I want to note that there was a lot of background noise, some kids doing wheelies in the park behind our barn. And you can see both Limra and I here checking it out. I even go up on my toes for a second and look up and over the round pen to see what's going on. And Limra can be very distractible at times. And I think it's a delicate balance between making our horses feel seen in regards to their concerns and what they're distracted by, while simultaneously asking them to refocus on what is at hand, what we're asking them to do. And so at various different moments in the session, I try to strike a good balance between those two things. So just a little note for today. I hope you enjoyed this video.